how to use your independent restaurant owner's superpower to make sales at will and rise above your competition.
Get your knife and fork ready to dig into a plate full of profits on the DFY Restaurant Revolution podcast with your host, recovering restaurant owner, Michael Tebow.
Hey, welcome. My name is Michael Tebow. I'm a recovering restaurant owner turned author, speaker, coach, owner of DFY Marketing Systems, and I've been serving the independent restaurant community since 2008. My goal and mission is to get you more new customers and get your existing customers come back more often with no work on your part. That's why I do these pod video casts each and every week to serve you a plate full of restaurant profits so you can have a better restaurant and a better life. And what we're talking about today is something that is near and dear to my heart, and I used to use it a lot when I had my restaurants way back in the day. So I was a restaurant owner for 26 years, and part of the reason I had 6 restaurants and I was blessed to have a very large catering company, and I use this technique, this strategy, this system to bring more new customers and keep them into I call it my family, right? Because we're not big corporate restaurants, right? We're independents, and your customers are like your family. And my gosh, I know your staff is, because you probably spend more time with your staff than you do with your family. So for me to best explain this superpower and tell you what it is, I'm going to tell you a story. And it's a true story. And depending on when you're watching this, listening to this, whenever, I just got done. I have a house in Bradenton, Florida, about a mile and a half from Anna Maria Island. And I've spent the last 50 years of my life living there on and off. And that's just where the past 2 hurricanes hit in the past month, Helene and Milton. And my daughter also, my oldest daughter, lives about 10 minutes from us at our house in Bradenton, and it was time to evacuate for Milton. So we evacuated. My mom lives in Orlando, and my brother and sister were down staying at my house on vacation when Hurricane Milton hit, and we ended up all gathered up my daughter, my future son-in-law, my brother, my sister-in-law, and we all evacuated to Orlando to make sure everybody was safe for the week, right? Because mandatory evacuation was on Monday. The hurricane hit on Thursday, and we took off back to Bradenton on Thursday. So we're living in a hotel basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, and it was quite the experience. A lot of people evacuated to Orlando. The hurricane did end up going through Orlando, but once it gets to the middle of the state, there was minimal damage. It was mainly a lot of spin-offs, tornadoes. And if you were affected by it, I hope it wasn't catastrophic for you. We can always rebuild, but you can't replace loss of life. So I pray and hope. And the Anna Maria area definitely was affected by both hurricanes, but we're strong and we're coming back. There's a great local community there of independent business owners, especially restaurant owners. So went through that whole experience. Like I said, it was the hotel in Orlando was packed, and they opened it up to dogs, and pets, right? It's kind of the state rule. Once there's an emergency for evacuations, all the hotels do that, which is great. So it was interesting, to say the least. But, we were eating, because everything closed down, we were eating hotel food. The hotel that we evacuated to was right across the street from Disney Springs, and I know this hotel. I've stayed there many times. It's very safe. It's a great place, and it was typically easy to get to normally, but because of the size of the evacuation, it took us about 6.5, 7 hours to go from Bradenton to Orlando, which usually takes about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. So there was about an extra 5 hours, of travel, because there was so much traffic there. But we got there, so all of us, the 6 of us, and spent the week in the hotel. So as soon as the hurricane passed, obviously everybody was anxious, so we headed back to our house in Bradenton to see what the damage was done, and also my daughter's place. My mom is in Orlando. She lives in a mobile home, had a little bit of damage, but she was safe and fine, and that's the important thing. So after going through all that and, seeing the damage to our place, it was a heck of a week, right? I mean, there was a lot of stress. You got to evacuate, you come back. Now, that's like the fifth or sixth hurricane I've been through it, but, my daughter has been through it when she was small. She was born in that area. So everybody in my, brother and his wife, were there on vacation. So everybody's kind of stressed out. So Thursday we get back, we start dealing with that, start cleaning everything up. Friday rolls around, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the area, but downtown Bradenton, and there's this great main street strip, which is only about 4 blocks. It's not very big. No corporate restaurants, all independent. So Friday night rolls around, and the grocery stores are still closed because there's no power. They can't get deliveries in. There's no gas. So we're like, Friday night, what do we want? We all need a break from reality, right? Because it was a hell of a week. Extremely stressful. I asked everybody, all right, well, what do you guys want to do? So we went and walked that downtown Bradenton strip in the city, that main street. And thankfully, there was like 4 or 5 restaurants that were open because they weren't, hit by the hurricane. There was, lots of trees and, palms and limbs and, stuff in the streets that we had to actually navigate walking over there. But there were like 3 or 4 of them that were open. It was amazing. When we walked in, we went to this one upscale Irish martini bar. First time I've ever been there. It was like really kind of a different concept, but it was, it was upscale, and it was like 3 different sections to the restaurant. It was great. I mean, the place was packed. It was Friday night. It was about 8 o'clock. And to see everybody after a week of hell, basically like that, everybody's slapping each other, on the backs. They're kissing. They're, glad to see their neighbors. Everybody's okay. And the restaurant was just alive, right? Like there was this awesome feeling of community there. And the restaurant was gracious, they were doing the best job. They were overwhelmed, obviously. But, it really created a great atmosphere and a great experience. It was an escape. And sometimes we forget about that, what it's like in our restaurant. We're not just there to serve food. As independent restaurant owners, we create an atmosphere. You're a crucial part of your community. People go to your restaurant to escape the bad things that have happened to them, even small things during the day, right? They go to celebrate life at your restaurant, your relationship with your customers. The corporate monsters can't duplicate that. That is your superpower. I just got back from doing a seminar in Nashville for some very high-level restaurant owners. These guys and ladies are unbelievable. They are awesome. I always learn so much from them as they learn from me. So it's, a reciprocal type of relationship. And we get together face-to-face 3 times a year, and it's really an awesome experience. If you're in the group and you're listening to this, I appreciate you very, very much. So we were talking about creating that relationship and creating, the atmosphere that's different from a corporate. Now, how do you do that? So your superpower is the relationship you can make and create with your customers, because the corporates, can't do that. That's why I love that area in Florida, because like I said, there's not a lot of corporates, there's a lot of independents. I would rather go to an independent. Trust me, after going through that all during the week, we didn't want a food factory, right? We didn't want to go to Applebee's. We didn't want to go to McDonald's. We didn't want to go to, Ruth Chris. I mean, that's on a different level than the other ones I mentioned. But we didn't want something that was corporate and cold. We wanted independent, warm community. We wanted an experience. We wanted to be taken care of. That's your superpower. You need to make sure you're providing that to your customers. How strong the connection is with your customers will determine how much money you make in your restaurant forever. Okay? That's like the core. You're just like your restaurant is the core of the community, right? Because I know everybody is coming to you asking you for donations for their charity. Why? They don't go to the corporates, they go to the independents, because the independents are the ones that step up and support and are part of the pillar of that community. So how do you bottle that and use it to grow your business, grow sales, and keep your existing customers coming back? Let me tell you, I broke it down into 5 different areas, and I'll cover them quickly for you, okay? So you got to remember, how does your place feel? It's a living, breathing thing. The restaurant isn't just tables and chairs and the walls. Your restaurant is a living, breathing thing, and you can control it. You don't have to go through all this bureaucratical BS that all the corporates do. Your ability to move quickly, make decisions, be decisive, that is a huge superpower against your big corporate competitors, okay? But how does your place feel? And I mean, I used to do this all the time when I owned my restaurants. Get out of the mindset of being the owner. Park or, hook up with somebody that's never been to your restaurant before and, observe and let them tell you what they see. From the time they pull into the parking lot, is your parking lot clean? Is it easy for people to navigate? Is there enough room on the parking spaces for people to open their doors? That the experience starts there. It starts outside the building. What does the outside of your building look like? Again, is it clean? Does it need to be painted? Does it say restaurant? Okay, I had a restaurant with a partner that thought, we're going to be the new cool secret place in town, and we didn't have restaurant, or all we had was the name, but it didn't say restaurant, it didn't say wine bar, it didn't say, don't do that. Don't do that. It was a huge mistake. We changed it right away, okay? What does your sign look like? Do people know it's a restaurant? Do you have umbrellas outside? These are all important things, okay? You need to pay attention to. Write them down, but get an unbiased opinion, all right? Don't ask one of your staff. They're not going to know, even your management, okay? Either talk to one of your customers, do it yourself, or get somebody that's never been to your restaurant before, which is even better. All right, number 2 is you got to pay attention to those little things. One of the things we talked about at this meeting, was what do people remember, okay? And one of my good friends, Dr. Timothy Polson, spoke about this. I can't remember what book it was written in, but he referenced Muhammad Ali, and I'm a huge boxing fan. And what did Muhammad Ali, his concept of how to win a boxing match is awesome. He was like, and I'm not talking about rope-a-dope, you start strong, right? You start strong at the beginning of the round, and then you finish strong. And in the middle, you kind of lean back, kind of rest, maybe dodge a couple of punches or take a few even. But he started really strong and he ended strong. Why? Because people remember that. They remember the first thing, remember the last thing. How is this applicable for your restaurant? I'll tell you what we did at my last restaurant that I sold waves, okay? I want them to have a great experience as soon as they sit down and when they leave, okay? Everything in between, yes, but I really want to make sure those are fantastic. So when people sat down, they got a basket of warm, right, coconut rolls, okay? Everybody, gosh, they'd come in just for the coconut rolls. All right, they had a little honey, toasted coconut. They were sweet. It was kind of like those Hawaiian buns, right? Hawaiian sweetbread. People love them. In fact, I love them, and I miss them right now. The restaurant's open, but it's on the other side of town. So they came in, they got that. It was like coming over to somebody's house, right? And they bring you this warm basket of bread. It's awesome, okay? Great first impression. Last impression, I gave them, everybody got it. No, not mince, not those Ande mince, whatever the heck you call them. We gave them a little piece of chocolate dipped pineapple. All right, so we cut it up in little squares. So when they got the check, they got that great lasting impression, last thing, okay, before they walked out. All right, so pay attention to those little things. Number 3, does your value exceed your price? What you're charging for your entrees, your sides, your dessert, whatever it is, your average per check person, does the perceived value outweigh that? Because if it doesn't, people are going to stop going. So make sure you're providing a memorable dining experience that people perceive as a greater value, like they're getting a deal. Everybody loves to get a deal, right? I'm a marketer. It's all about the deal, the bonus. You know, what's it all? And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about how man, if I tell you can charge whatever the heck you want as long as people think they're on the plus side of what you're charging. Okay, so I can get a steak. I'm probably get the exact same steak. It's just like bottled water, right? I gave him the example when I was talking about a bottled water at the store, Walgreens in Tennessee. It was $1. Then at a bar, I got a bottle of water. It was $4 in Tennessee. And then at the airport, it was $6. Same bottle of water, different places. And you kind of get that perceived value. All right, I get it. It's an airport. You know, the bar, they got, perceived value. You might not like it, right, in that example, and it probably pisses you off. But if you can exceed the perceived value by, wow, this place is really nice, right? You might get the same bottle of wine in one restaurant, and it's $10, and you go to a nice restaurant, it's $50. Perceived value. Okay, what can you do to up your value? Value versus price. Make sure you're always on the plus side of value with your customers. All right, here's the big one, okay? Marketing, your marketing is going to differentiate you from everybody else. And how can you do that? You can't get to every table, right? How the owner, you can speak to all your customers at once is through email, social media, print marketing is amazing. They can get to know you, tell stories. Like I told you the story about the hurricane. People want to hear stories. Use that in your marketing. If you don't feel comfortable about getting personal, get personal about your management and your staff. They love it. Turn your chef, into a celebrity. People like to see what's going on behind the scenes, right? That's why I share my stories with you, keep you interested, but also you can learn stuff along the way. All right, last but not least is the most important way to use your superpower of building relationships with your customers to rise above your competition and make sales is it's all about the people, right? It's just people doing business with people, and we're not going to give money to people that we don't know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. How do you get your customers to know, like, and trust you? You do that through your marketing, like I said, storytelling, and through your staff. You've got to hire nice people. You got to hire great staff, okay? Nobody wants to go in and be waited on by a server that's having a bad freaking day. Guess what? That all starts with you. Woo! As the owner and your management staff, your demeanor will determine how your staff is going to perform tonight in the back of the house and on the floor. It's so funny when I go into a restaurant and I try, a new restaurant or a new dish, and whoever I'm with, if the dish is really good and the plate presentation is excellent, and that's important, don't forget about it. You also it's got to look good, but it's definitely, got to taste good. I tell everybody I was with, I can tell somebody in the back made this with love. What do I mean by that? They care. They go that extra mile. It's all part of the memorable dining experience. You can't train nice. You have to hire nice people. You can train somebody to work on a POS system. You can train somebody to grill a steak. Well, not everybody, but most people. You can train somebody to make a margarita, but you can't train them to be nice. So hire nice people. Share a little bit of yourself. Get personal with your marketing, and all these things combined will help you create that lasting relationship with your customers, because that is your superpower. Remember that. Thank you so much for listening to this week's edition. If you're watching this video podcast, I very much appreciate it. How can I help you? You can head over to our website, dfymarketingsystems.com with an S, and you can find all sorts of great information there. Articles, how-to guides, there's a free review scorecard, You can get a free customized marketing plan. That's a $297 value. And remember, please, if you're not part of our DFY family, I'd really like to invite you to join us. Leave us a comment, shoot us an email, review us. We appreciate it. It helps us keep fighting the good fight to make sure you have a better restaurant, a better life. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic week.
Thanks for listening to the DFY Restaurant Revolution podcast. Join us in the revolution by subscribing, rating, and reviewing on your favorite podcasting platform today.